Right, now I've been asked for my three favourite floats, my three favourite pole floats in the Silverlite range. And these are actually floats I use all the time for my pole fishing. So this one here is the grey ooze, and it was developed specifically for the grey ooze. The floats that we were using at the time were a similar body, but we had problems in that a lot of the paints were cracking. So the governor had these ones developed. They're a foam body, so you don't have that problem with them cracking and letting water. They were the perfect shape for slow moving rivers like the grey ooze, and the drains as well, all the drains, middle level and all them sort of places. And the other thing we had trouble with was with seeing them, because you've got very little vegetation in the bank there at all. So the water, you would have white water one minute, you would have dark water another minute, and you couldn't see them. You couldn't see them. So he had them made with a little sleeve to thicken the bristle out so we could see them. So if you've got perfect visibility on a perfect day, then you could just fish them nice and fine with these. But we found that it didn't actually make any difference to the presentation, and you could see them. And let's have it right, if you can't see your float, then you won't see no bites. So that is what these were made for. And you've got a wire stem, nice and stable stem, the eye on the side, and we do these up to 5 gram. So even on the choppy, deepest of rivers, these are just lovely, perfect. So that is a great float, and that was, I think I'm right in saying, that was our first one that we did in the Silverlite range. Now then, when the river's pulling a bit, in comes the Inline river. Now these are a balsa body, but the line passes through the body there with the wire stem and the thick bristle. So again, you can see it. It's all about being able to see it. Now I use these on the River Lark when it's towing through on the whip in real small size. I mean, that's 0.5 for chub and roach, and it does get particularly fast through there and all. And I love that. I love that float in that sort of size. But other lads, including the gaffer, he will use the bigger sizes on the whip to hand, on the ooze, on River Wissy, especially when you're on a lot of fish and you want to lay the rig in, Olivet, a couple of droppers, lay it in, mend the line to the float, follow it through with a whip, boom, lovely. Especially when you're brilliant float for moving water, but especially when you're on a lot of fish. Lovely and durable. There's no wrap overs with the line going through the body. Again, you can see it nicely. It's a really, really good float. So we do these up to 5 grams, but you might say 5 grams are not heavy enough. We also do them up to 15. So these are the Inline River XLs. So everything above these up to 5, everything above these is these big fellas. So if you're fishing on the River Wye and the River Trent, the Severn, things like that, or if you're fishing in Europe, in the great big canals and lakes and anything like that, rivers, powerful rivers, and the 5 gram is not man enough, I think you'll find that will be man enough. Now, I don't think you'll be using that on the fen drains around March and places like that. So, but the smaller sizes, they go down to, I think they go down to 0.3, something like that, which would be nice when them sort of rivers are towing a little bit. So that's the Inline River. That's great on the whip or on the running line. You know, you could use it for anything. But now this one is my favourite. This is the one I had a little bit to do with. So I said to the governor, I said, I'm using this pattern of float. I said, I'm nearly run out of them. The biggest one I got was 0.8. and smaller sizes, and I said, I need that float. Had he got any? So he had to search around, and we hadn't got any. So he had this one made, and I thought the name Viger would be quite nice for that. It's, you know, good name. But he said no. So I said, well, what about the little port? He said, no, that's NAF. So I thought, well, I didn't think it was NAF. Greatest venue on the river systems. So he came up with a Perfecto. The reason he came up with a Perfecto is because this is a perfect on the drop float. So just simply shotted with droppers through, a float that will go through the water for hemp fishing. That was what it was made for. But a lot of lads used it in slightly bigger sizes on rivers like the Ooze, with an Olivet and a couple of droppers for pinky fishing. The carbon stem goes right the way through and is obviously painted on the top, and it's got the little side eye, but it's an absolutely beautiful pattern. A lot of people say, well, it's very similar to, say, some of the Dave Harrell patterns and things like that, but it's not. The shoulder on it is a lot more slighter, a lot more slender, and as soon as you get a bite, that's under, that's straight under. You can dot that right down, or you can have some bristle out, whichever you prefer. But again, you can see it. But in bad light conditions, when maybe it is a bit of a difficult one to see, the Perfecto, that's another large Perfecto, the Perfecto Plus was born, which I've got down here. So this is a hollow tip, and it's also got the eye on the bristle as well, and it's got an interchangeable tip, so you can slide that one off if you want. I'm not going to bother now, but you can see what I mean. You can slide that one off and then put a yellow one on, or you can, you know, you can blacken that, something like that. But that is easier to see in difficult light conditions, and that's why that one was bought out. But the original is my favourite, and like I say, we're really proud of how it turned out. Use it a lot. You can use that in places like Ely, in Ely Town Centre, when you're catching a lot of fish shallow and letting it just go through the water again on hemp, tears, things like that on the hook. Yeah, it's a particular favourite of mine. I love that float. I still think the Viger would have been better named, but there, hey ho, it would never have done that. So they're my three favourite pole floats, and like I say, they are all in the Silverlite range. So take a look at them. That covers everything really, from like just general slow moving fishing to fast fishing to hemp fishing and through the water fishing. It basically covers every style. So have a look on our website. There's loads of these in stock, and or come in and have a look at them and see what you think. But yeah, have a look.